You open one eye. You stretch slowly. It's already nighttime out. You get up quickly. And a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 3. Welcome back to Night Call. Our plates are full. Last time, if memory serves right, we escorted a few of our potential suspects on their merry way about their lives. Claudia and the other guy whose name escapes me again. I'm so bad at names. But I don't think it was either of them. There is, however, another suspect nearby who might have just a bit more to incriminate him. We'll have to find out. There used to be a Lebanese restaurant here. You had lunch there several times a week. Where could it have gone? Selwyn. You immediately recognize the passenger who just climbed into the back seat of your cab. His face has been plastered all over the news for the last few weeks. He's a lawyer. A lawyer who is representing a terrorist. He gives you an address and you start driving. He holds your gaze in the rearview mirror like he's trying to read your mind. You drive across a virtually empty Paris. Behind you, the lawyer nervously consults his notes. Say nothing. You continue driving without saying a word. Your passenger mutters, why did he say that to the cops? He's not taking this seriously. He doesn't get it. Idiot. There again, he says it again. Is he contradicting himself or just... You glance in your mirror. The lawyer looks like a smaller version of himself. You sure everything's alright? He closes his eyes and remains silent for a while. You see him start to break. I can't take it anymore. He takes a deep breath. He loses control of his voice. This guy is a real asshole. He's not just a monster, he's a total idiot. Tears form in the corners of his eyes. I've never seen such a moronic defendant. You know what it's like to defend a moron? You know what it's like to get only 3 hours of sleep a night so you can defend a fucking moron? Do you have any idea? He yells so loudly the windows shake. Are you talking about... Yes, of course I'm talking about him. Who else? Who else could I possibly be talking about? You've seen my face in all the magazines, all the papers, right? His voice teeters, blind with rage. That's me, the terrorist's best friend, a traitor to his country. He pauses, barely, just in time to take a deep breath. Jesus effing Christ already! He kicks the seat in front of him. Jesus! He calms himself down. He steadies his breath. I'm the one who agreed to it. I actually fought to represent him. It's my own damn fault I'm being dragged through the mud. He raises his hand, snickers. Yeah, I admit it. At first I thought it was pretty great. Being on TV, all the interviews, journalists asking my opinion about everything. I shook so many hands, said so many words, sentences, yet I actually said nothing. When I worked in the hood, not a single person cared about my work. And now in 5 hours I have to be on the radio. In 7 on TV. He pauses, breathes. His voice sounds further and further away. You should get some rest. He chuckles. Rest? No way. Actually, it's simple. I almost never sleep. When I lie in bed, I stare at the ceiling and go over the evidence in my head. He sits up. It's barbaric, disgusting, so horrific it's almost unreal. He lets out a sigh from somewhere deep in his body. And then I discover my client bought nails, the nails that were in the bombs, at the corner market, and he kept the receipt. He kept the fucking receipt. Folded it in half and slipped it into his wallet. That's what I see when I close my eyes. Disemboweled bodies and a receipt for €2 worth of nails. Why? He raises his voice quite high. Why, for God's sake? He thought he could expense it when he got to heaven? He pauses. So stupid and so dangerous. He disgusts me. He revolts me. Someone has to defend him. That's exactly what I told myself when I agreed to represent him. That's exactly why my firm is losing clients every day. That's exactly why people insult me and spit on me in the street. His fit of rage subsides. His fingers are shaking. When I signed on, I thought I'd be representing someone crazy, and I found out he's just a moron who played too many video games. Uh-oh, that's not good for me. This guy has never even read the holy book they used to justify their so-called acts of martyrdom. He read a few passages online. Passages online. Do you have any idea what a complete moron he is? He chuckles. I'm sorry. I truly am sorry. I shouldn't have said all that. He takes a deep breath. I don't have anyone else to talk with about it. All the other lawyers avoid me like the plague. My mother can't understand why I'm doing this. She's so ashamed she went back to Algeria. He's shaking. I get the shame. What I don't get is when people just lump things together. I am not a terrorist. I am not a murderer. No one else would do it. Yeah, so what? Do I get a prize? No, I get spit on every day. Why? For a moron. We could hang him right here, right now, and no one, I'm telling you, would shed a tear. He stays quiet for a moment, catches your gaze. That's why I keep doing this. He slows his breathing. For equality. Our country was founded on it. These rights have been abused far too often for me to look the other way. His anger seems to be lifting. The taxi has almost reached its destination. In the back seat, the lawyer is much calmer. His voice is soft. I needed to be reminded of this. This will serve as a lesson. He looks at you in the mirror and bores into you with his gaze. It's odd, isn't it? That I ran into you tonight. I mean, as if... No, forget it. You pull over. He pays his fare. Wait, don't take this the wrong way, but... He hands you another bill. Here. This is for you. For listening. For hearing what I had to say. I could really use the money, y'all. You slide the bill into your pocket. He looks relieved, gathers his belongings, strewn across the back seat. As he's getting out of the cab, you realize he left an envelope behind. For a second, one tiny second, you hesitate. It could be something important. Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Okay. What's the move? Oh, God, what's the move? This could be... very important. This could be vital. I see nothing. He gets out of the taxi, walks a few steps away, and turns around to wave at you before entering a bistro. You turn around and grab the envelope your suspect left behind. You'll open it when you get home tonight. You drive off. Oh, and he tipped me too. I feel so bad. I feel bad. Oh, I'm a bad person. No. This is what desperation does to a motherfucker. That's fine. It's for the case, you know? Speaking of the case, we're not doing too poor on cash. I want to check out this area of interest. The cat walks in front of your cab. Its eyes shine for a minute. A second later, and it's gone. Cat's too crafty for us. You park your taxi across from the stadium just a few meters away. Just a few meters from a 2-story building. It's a non-brick place that clashes with the huge concrete behemoth that is Chartley Stadium. You get out of the car and walk to the front door. You knock. You wait a few minutes. Lights come on, and the door finally opens. Marco appears. Marco is a former taxi driver. A strange guy, a bit spacey and different. He's been working at the stadium for a few years now. Well, shit, you're still alive? That's Marco. You like him. I mean, wow, so nice to see you. Wait, okay, Marco. I think I've got Marco. I've got this. I got his voice down. I mean, wow, so nice to see you. Even though we stole your wife. Oh, shit! I forgot about that. Come in, come in. You want something to drink? Alright, you stop drinking. Cup of coffee? Yes, please. You follow him into his caretaker's home. It's pretty nice despite the mess and filth. Caretaker? Oh no. He serves you a cup of coffee and sits down at the table. You follow suit. The only new noise in the room is the TV behind Marco. Before you came by, he was playing a soccer video game. Oh, he's basic. Interesting. The fans are singing and clapping their hands. So, what you been up to? I have some questions for you. He shakes his head. No, not yet, man. Seriously, no. Last time I helped you out, I lost my job, so the answer's no. You have no choice and you know it. You owe me this much. Marco drops his head between his shoulders. He starts to beg. I'm telling you, man, I love this job. It's so easy. I get to take care of a stadium that's empty 75% of the time. He sits up roughly in his chair. Behind him on the screen, the stadium is going wild. I need information on Ronan Besson. He straightens up. Ronan, the coach that got killed by the judge? The very one. He was a great guy. Everyone's torn up about it. What's this little symbol? Look at that little devil. I love him. Drink coffee. I hate it when you do that sort of thing. Seriously, it freaks me out. Pops a sigh. This is gonna get back to me somehow. There were rumors. Some parents heard he was getting a little hands-on with the kids a while back, if you get my drift. But no one ever looked into it. Was it true? I don't know nothing. He sighs. A few months ago, Ronan cornered a kid. Like by the showers. You know what I mean? The kid stabbed him in the thigh with a pair of scissors and ran away. Hell yeah, kid. Let's fucking go. The kid's parents weren't sure whether they'd file a complaint. The club director brought Ronan in and bam, 2 days later he was murdered. Who else knows this? But the kid? No one, I think. Oh, maybe some other parents? Don't know. You get out. One last thing. Oh, that's what that was? Oh, I didn't really want to do that. The victims. See if we can find a through line between who's getting killed, although with the title The Judge, it's kind of easy to guess. You list the victims. He doesn't react until you mention Charles Bougrain. Bougrain. Oh yeah, him. I know him. I mean, everybody knows him. Right-wing extremist son of a bitch. Hold on. What are you doing these days? I can't say. Marco sits up. Damn it, I'm gonna get fired. Easy. His voice speeds up. Don't tell anyone where you got this information, okay? Don't worry. Yeah, I've heard that before. Vuvuzela noise comes from the TV. Okay, I've got to run. He walks you to the door, mumbling with clenched teeth. Every time I run into you, you jinx me. Every single time. You walk outside and over to your taxi. Door, key, motor purring. You go back to work. That's some good info. That is some damn good info. We didn't even have to pay for it. You know, it's so close. We're gonna go to this next location. We should. Our guy here should be a private eye at this point. He's put in the work. From outside, the Montparnasse. The Montparnasse. Montparnasse? No, that would be like AIE-ish thing. A gun store? Oh, hell yeah. Texas and me's coming out. Looks like any other shop. A plain, discreet front window. Sliding doors. That's not a sledge. It's fine. But inside, they sell handguns, machine guns, knives, and even grenades. It's your first time here, but you've already had its owner in your cab. The store opens really early so that patrons can come train at the shooting range. As you walk up to the counter, you hear the distant noise of gunshots under your feet. It's an unsettling experience. Madame Brochon, can I help you? It's the owner speaking, an older woman with a hunched back. She's been selling weapons since the 70s. She's cheeky in a typically Parisian way, and her wrinkles carve craters across her face. It's you. It's been ages. Come closer. You make small talk and eventually decide to go for it. I have a question for you, about a weapon. You slide the photo of the shell across the counter. She looks slowly up at you. Where's this photo from? She's been doing this for years, and you doubt you can pull one over on her. The cops? Yeah, and just how did you end up with the police photos? I'm helping him out. You know perfectly well this lady never smiles, but something on her face shifts ever so slightly into what might be considered a small grin. I'm not surprised. You are always the type to want to help people out. She practically rips the photo of your hands. You give her as many details as you can. She thinks for a while. The shop door is open and a woman, probably a cop from her appearance, comes in, greets the owner, and disappears downstairs. When she opens the door, it creaks and the smell of gunpowder spreads to the shop. It's funny, this doesn't fit what you told me. The shell is in perfect shape, and you told me the bullets are also completely clean. But it's old ammo, you can tell. There are no scratches, but there are a few oxidation stains, and her voice grows darker all of a sudden, like something had escaped from her. In my opinion, it's from an old weapon, perfectly maintained, by someone who knew what they were doing. In light of what you told me, I'd say it belonged to a cop or a soldier. It could be a family weapon. It was a police service weapon in the 1970s. Either a cop held on to it, or the guy you're looking for inherited it. That judge there, he's a pro. You raise your head to meet her gaze. Her old bones make that slight shift again, the one that could be construed as a smile. Or she, actually. You know, lots of women shoot, and I've give classes if you have any lady friends who are interested. Back in your cab. Oh, you know, women need every advantage they can get, you know. World's kind of crazy. You glance back at the shop. You don't know how this woman knew that. Anyway, you start your taxi. You have what you need to move forward with your investigation. And a coupon for a class on shooting automatic weapons. Damn! If you got a lady friend who needs to shoot an Uzi, I've got her back. Grandma, what? He's all the way over there. That is inconvenient. But we do have all night. And we're not hurting for cash. I think we can afford to make a longer trip and avoid, you know, these people who aren't suspects in a serial killer case. Immerse yourself in the ambiance. Which is probably also a word that comes from France. Hôpital Saint Louis, please. $30. Oh, hell yeah. Your next passenger is your suspect. The retired policeman. That's what I thought. Cop in the 70s. Oh boy. Let's see where this goes. Judging by his looks, you could have easily guessed. Hôpital Saint Louis, please. You nod your head and start the engine. You notice right away that your passenger is cold. Very cold, in fact. He's shivering and chattering his teeth. You start driving, but keep an eye on him. And turn up the heat. He flashes a crooked smile. That's really not necessary. Thanks, though. I'm not cold. It's my medication. Pretty bizarre side effects. 1 minute I'm hot, the next I'm cold. Not much fun, really, but it's for my own good. His face says otherwise. He's not quite convinced. Actually, maybe it is the cold. It hasn't been this cold in ages. Since 1982, I think. 83, maybe. And almost in a whisper, he adds, the year of the tiger. The Chinese year of the tiger? He's smiling now, but continues shivering ever so slightly. No, the year we hunted down a tiger in Paris. Nothing to do with the Chinese. Really nice story, actually. Well, maybe nice isn't the right word. You'll see. It'll get my mind off things. He has a nervous laugh and is clearly uncomfortable. Probably not used to appearing fragile. It was late December. The weather was crap. Never been so cold in my life. The water in the fountains and gutters were frozen. At the office, most of my colleagues were sick, stuck in bed. I was sick too, but I was new, so I sucked it up. I was blowing my nose every 5 minutes. My nose was red. My breath reeked of cough drops. We all looked like we were about to keel over. The switchboard phone rang and no one answered. I sighed, got up, picked up the phone. A woman screamed in my ear. A tiger. She had seen a tiger, orange and black, big as a motorcycle, in the Rue de Bucci. I burst out laughing, told her this was a good prank, and hung up. Less than a minute later, the phone rang again. The second line, too, then the one in the chief's office. He points to different areas of the car as if he can still hear the phones ringing. A tiger! A really big one. Rue de Bucci, Rue de Seine, Rue de Beaux-Arts, I believe. The passenger rubs his chin and seems deep in thought. It was starting to think something fishy was going on, so we gotta move on. We grabbed our coats and scarves. One of the guys from the squad called his brother-in-law, who works at the zoo in Vincennes. He sighs. Outside there was snow in buckets, huge flakes the size of your gear shift there. We were better off on foot. When we got to Saint-Michel, we walked down the Quai des Grands Augustins, knocking on doors. The people we talked to wanted us to take their word for it. They swore they'd seen a tiger, and they were dead serious. We walked the streets, the snow was slowing, but only barely. He looks at you. I'm sure you're familiar with that moment, in the middle of the night when Paris is completely quiet. You nod. It's incredible. Like the city just stops for a moment. Yeah. Well, it was just like that. Utter and total calm. Absolute silence. The team broke into pairs. We checked alleys and passageways. Back then, the neighborhood was like Swiss cheese with nooks and crannies all over, garages built with their permits. It wasn't the highbrow neighborhood it is today. He heaves a sigh. He seems sad. We went into this narrow street because my partner thought he saw paw prints. And he was right. There was snow all over the dumpster, on the roof of the garage, the building's balconies. The tiger had climbed up there, so we followed. We pulled out our weapons and started after the prints. Dumpster, garage roof, balconies. My partner was huffing and puffing. Huge puffs of steam were escaping from his mouth. Your passenger snickers. He stopped and told me that we must look like our ancestors, like prehistoric men wielding flint spears. We couldn't help laughing. We knew how stupid we must look. We got up to the roof. The tiger was there. Damn, what a shock. It was a magnificent beast, almost 2 meters in size, maybe more. It took our breath away. The tiger looked at us. There was fear in his eyes. He was shaking. We realized we'd screwed up. We never should have come. If it attacked, we had to kill it. But neither of us wanted to kill it after seeing it. He stared at us. Paris was utterly calm. Snow as far as the eye could see, a white skyline. And then, the passenger pauses. He closes his eyes slowly. Something in his voice cracks. He jumps off the roof. It was remarkable. A moment of silence. He's still shivering. He was trying to escape? No. He didn't aim for another building or for me or my partner. He jumped into the void. Knew he'd been cornered. The passenger needs a few seconds before going back to his story. You get the impression he's still shaking as much as when he got in. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. We leaned as far as we could off the roof to look below. It looked like he was asleep, lying comfortably on the snow. A giant orange and black spot on a feather bed. He watches the street go by. The hospital is closed now. What happened next? Paperwork. Lots of paperwork. The squad really took it to heart. It was a huge blow to morale. Like one of us had killed him. Like we'd lost one of our own. His hands go to his eyes as if he's checking for tears. It was just a tiger. He closes his eyes and heaves a huge sigh. It's just a tiger. You park in front of the hospital. Your passenger suddenly speaks up. His voice sounds more confident than before. I think I'd do just what that tiger did. His death seemed so calm and gentle. It can't hurt too much to fall into a huge bed of feathers. He glances quickly at his shaking hand. In the rearview mirror, the police inspector seems oddly small, as if he had shrunk during the ride. Seriously, it can't hurt too much. He hands you his money and gets out of the cab. You watch him walking away without saying a word. The sliding doors at the entrance at the hospital take far too long to open. You drive away. Shit. He fits the profile. But he's not evil. Not like that anyway. No one else of suspect. Who the hell's that guy? We'll go with the closest one. Shit. Forgot about the tiger story. That one kind of hurts. You're driving along when a strange burnt smell suddenly fills the cab. You look around, sniff. Is it coming from outside? Park. As soon as you see a free spot, you pull over and park. You freeze. Something or someone is in your taxi. A woman's voice resonates around the cab. I need a better signal. I'm here. I'm here. You turn around slowly. A young woman has appeared behind you. Don't shout. I'm afraid I'll lose the connection. I don't have much time. There's something strange about her face. It's as if she's several different people at once. Listen to me carefully. I come from the future, and you must know that you met... She stops moving like a computer glitch. She stays this way, still frozen. Then she suddenly starts moving again. We're good. I think it's all taken care of. She smiles at you. Thanks for the information. I really wish I could explain everything to you more clearly, and... She starts flickering and disappears for a second. No, there's still something that... Cellular... connection... She disappears for good. A few seconds go by. All appears to have returned to normal. You keep driving. Sorry, 40 seconds ago. Her voice is coming from the radio. Your passenger's, if that's the correct term, voice is broken by an odd grumbling noise, like someone else is speaking at the same time. Turn out the volume. You can make out the young woman's voice. She's giving what seems to be a well-rehearsed speech. The virus appeared on September 18, 2049. Remember that date. 2049, September 18th. Her voice disappears entirely. Instead, you hear what seems to be a liturgical chant in an Asian language on the same frequency. What the hell? What the hell? I've played this game before. This has never happened to me. What is this? What is this? Higher station. Trying to find the young woman's voice, you eventually stop when you find one in which you can just barely hear her voice. From then half of the semester. Just imagine. Millions. Mountains of corpses. 20 years old back. I was fighting robots. Robots! I lost. And knew. Everybody. Twin died. The virus attacks. Permanent. Her voice cuts off abruptly. The liturgical chant starts up again. You're able to determine the language. Vietnamese. Higher station. You find out a station in which you can make out your passenger's voice. You have to imagine the climate of civil war, death everywhere, the virus mutating, there were mass suicides and a rise in fascism and religious extremism. Oh no. We've been trying for years to set the record straight about the virus. Science can solve this crisis. Science alone can... Her voice is drowned out by an avalanche of applause. You hear a new voice, deep, powerful. It's in English. American from what you can tell by the accent. Oh fuck, of course we're the bad guys. Or that's just like actually a station. Wait, no, they would not be able to hear that American station from here. That's why I've been traveling back in time. Oh, we found it. La Voix de Futur, the voice of the future. I don't speak French, but I speak linguistics. This virus is entirely man-made, and if we created it, we can destroy it. I need information. I need you to help me find certain passengers. Let me reassure you, none of this is your fault. I can't tell you anything more. We have to keep close tabs on changes we make to the past. It's too big a risk otherwise. Her voice is suddenly clearer than ever. I hope you understand. It's crucial for us that you... One moment, Yes. The strange young woman appears all of a sudden in the back seat again. Ha! Sorry about all the comings and goings. Our technology is not at 100% yet. The tiniest of smiles crosses her face. It's almost invisible. Anyway, I hope you got the point. Especially since we have to remain in hiding for the time being. She stops talking for a second. Her face flickers. They're after us. There's not really another way to put it. As I was saying, the extremists are trying to... She vanishes out of the blue. The ether smell vanishes. The radio turns off. You pull over as soon as you see a free spot. You remain still for a while. She doesn't seem to be coming back. You shake your head, disturbed by this strange visitor, and get back to work. What? 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 Excuse me? Excuse me? What? And is that fucking Santa Claus? What? That has never happened to me before. What was that? That was insanity. That was alien. That was the voice of the future. We found Janet's radio station. That's what the achievement I got said. What? I love this game. What are you wearing, my guy? We're gonna go for the closest individual. Since there's no suspects on the map, and I don't really want to talk to Santa Claus, personal reasons. He knows what he did. Your next passenger is alone and waiting for you on the sidewalk. And it's from the present, too. She gets in the cab and whispers, "Hello." She has no handbag or suitcase, just a small handmade sign with an Indian name printed on it. "Charles de Gaulle, please." She is young with a soft and slight accent. Her face shows no emotion. Her fingers play with the small gold chain around her neck. It is the only piece of jewelry she has on. You drive, glancing back at her from time to time. Her head seems to be elsewhere. I usually start with the say nothing route, because not everybody wants a chatty taxi driver. You continue the trip in silence. The young woman stares intently at everything she sees. Sidewalks, street lamps, signs, as if she were counting them. She looks at you for the first time since she got in the cab. Something is bothering her. "You okay?" She hesitates. "Yes, fine, thank you." She nods her head gently, cracking a tiny smile. "It's really early. The first planes to come in are the worst. Everyone is exhausted and half asleep." "Yes, exactly. And," she sighs, "I must confess I don't really want to go there." A tiny smile lights her face up for a split second before disappearing. "Ah, family." "My future husband. Well, future. I've never even met him." Her accent suddenly becomes stronger. I can't do an Indian subcontinent accent, so... At least not a woman's. And one that's not probably based in 30 years of racism. Blame the sins of the fathers. You know this habit well. Just before confiding in you, passengers tend to relax into their natural accent. "I'm sure he's a great guy, as they say here." Sadness appears in her voice. "But I don't know him at all. My parents chose him. It's crazy, isn't it? Are you shocked?" "No." A sad smile washes briefly over her face. "It's tradition. Or at least it used to be. My parents are a bit old school, even by current standards in India. I chose to study here and not in England like my sisters." She flashes a smile. "I fell in love with Barry and decided to stay. I almost never go home. Actually, this is home now. Anyway, my parents insisted I meet him. He decided to make the trip, saying he had a meeting as a pretext." Let's let her keep going. "It's understandable from their perspective. I mean, it worked for them, right? You sense something bubbling up. Anger, before she freezes. Some people refuse to let their emotions out. She slowly regains control of her body. "What day trips would you recommend outside Paris?" "Nearby?" She nods. "Versailles, of course. It's really beautiful. Definitely worth it." Her face lights up. "Oh, yes, perfect. I'm sure he'll like that." "Or there's Fontainebleau. There's a huge park, very wild if he likes hiking." "I don't really know." She smiles shyly. You prefer to say nothing. The airport's not much further. Something about the young woman makes you feel uncomfortable. She looks as if she's about to scream, but is holding it in. Time passes and silence fills the cab. Which terminal? Your question startles her. Terminal C, 2C, I think. Nod. You park the car in front of Terminal 2C. Your passenger grabs her sign and exits the cab. She pauses for a second as if she were about to say something. Then she disappears. Let's take what we can get. I think we're about out of time. Yep. We met Salim, one of the suspects in the case. You stole his documents? Oh yeah, we did do that, didn't we? Oh no. It's fine. How did we lose money? Wait, hold on. I wasn't paying attention. I don't like it when numbers go down. Met Janet Cho. Found Janet Station. That's insane. That was probably the coolest thing that's ever happened to me in this game. You take a few minutes to update your board with your new clues. Steps in the hallway. They stop in front of your door, then move away. You sigh and get to work. Alright, we've got Salim's files. We've only got so much time. Let's go with what we stole first. Might as well. We put in the work. And then the stuff on victim 2. And we don't have enough time for the other one. Oh, we've got a board now. Victim killed 2 in only spot without CCTV. Oh, interesting. So either they got lucky or that was on purpose. Victim 2, stolen wallet. Let's see. Weapon kept in perfect shape by a professional. Dad was a cop. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So he was a cop in the 70s. His dad probably was a cop in the 70s, which means either of them. My money's on Paul Marie, even though he seemed really depressed and sad, and I feel bad. Victim 1 was a molester, never arrested. Goody. He got what was coming to him. Connected to Salim. Right, Salim investigated the first 3 victims from his files specifically. Okay. Police gun in the 70s. This is a triple threat for our guy Paul. Killer knew the victims or researched them, and killer left message in chalk of the first 3 crime scenes. I don't think it's Arif. I do not think it's Arif. I don't even can afford a gun. He would have had to, like, found it. What's your history, Arif? Unknown background. Oh, we have no idea. Briefly worked for victim 2 in the 90s. We also have some vague stuff for Claudia, but I think the only actual damning thing is potentially the slogan of "Time is up." It's potential that the third victim, being a colonel of the Junta, was not necessarily related to her, because I doubt she's the only person to have been victimized by an oppressive fucking regime. No sign of violence for victim 3, though. Didn't fight back. I don't think it's Claudia. I also don't think it's Perron, because I don't have anything that's directly connected to him. Just stuff that could also be connected to Paul Marie. I think we're down to those 2. But we'll run out of time. We'll take care of that tomorrow night. It's time to go to bed. The phone rings and you jump. You're not used to hearing it. No one ever calls you. It must be Buzzet. You pick up. Buzzet sounds irritated. You there? Yeah. Listen, it's... She pauses. You suddenly hear a ruckus in the background. Probably know it's at the station. Buzzet raises her voice. Anyone got the time? Hey, guys, anyone? Fuck, they're all Neanderthals here. Listen, it's early and I'm wiped out. So are you, I bet. Let's get straight to the point. What do you have for me? In a calm and methodical voice, you start giving her the evidence you collected. You start with the first suspect, their connections to the victims and the rumors, then the second suspect, and so on. A few minutes in, she lets out a whistle. Not bad at all. Seriously, you should come give lessons to the zombies I work with. A long sigh. I have some good news for you. We checked the alibi of one of the suspects I gave you. As you listen to her, you turn to the board and pull down the suspect she's referring to. So it's gotta be someone else. She snickers. You know how lucky you are? I'm doing your job for you, pal. Bitch, I'm doing your job for you! Okay, enough chit-chat. I gotta run. I'll call you in 2-3 days. Okay? Understood. Good. Good doggy. God, this bitch. I'll call you in 3 days, and you better have what I need to make a proper arrest. The DA has fangs. We're pretty sure he's gonna turn into a werewolf at some point. She babbles on for a while. Her voice becomes softer, but just as sarcastic. That would explain his terrible breath. Okay, I'm out. She hangs up. You hold the handset to your ear for a while. You have just one thing in mind. Sleeping. And forgetting it all. It wasn't Claudia. That's who we got confirmation it not being. Okay. I didn't think it was her. I also hoped it wasn't her. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You pull open the sofa bed, which unfolds with an unpleasant creak. You collapse onto the mattress. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed. Your body aches and you are in pain. You can tell you need to get some sleep. You glance at your investigation board. You hope to find more information, tonight even, as soon as you wake up. You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. Right when you're about to fall asleep, something rubs up against your leg. You prop your head up and just there in the shadows, you see a face. Okay, no thanks. It looks like a combination of the faces of all your suspects. You wake with a start, look quickly around you. There's no one there. You lie back down, feeling restless. Let's keep going. I can afford to keep going. I can just split it into 2 episodes. I'm a free laborer that way. You open one eye. You start whistling. Some song that's been in your head since you woke up, though you don't know why. It's gonna be a long night. You get up quickly. And a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 4. Already, there's a few places we can go that might be of use. We also really need... Hey, it's Hervé. I don't think it's Hervé. Some folks. 3 days we need to have someone nailed to a chalkboard. Or a corkboard in this case. The police archives look like any other building in Paris. No sign, nothing to make it stand out, but this is where all the case files and criminal records are stored. You know this place well. For several months you spent a lot of time with the woman who directs it. She was a regular passenger, calling upon you almost every night, first as a driver, and then you can see her shape from across the street. You try to prevent your brain from going there, but it has a mind of its own. She's as beautiful as ever. You get out of the cab. You cross over to the sidewalk on the other side. I'm not going to lie, I was just surprised by your request. She lights a cigarette. She still has that cold, distant look about her. But you know it's just a facade. You don't smoke anymore? Well, he is French. But also, smoking's bad for your health. No, I'm trying to quit. She has trouble articulating with the cigarette in her mouth. Good luck with that. I just can't manage. She runs a hand through her hair. Her wedding band shines under the street lamp. You're freezing. Listen, I am sure you know I'm not allowed to give you this kind of information. But if what you said was true, then you get the impression she's reaching for your side. Let her do it. Her hand brushes over your wound. You think about her body, her habits, how she used to call you in the middle of the night. I fished around, and the first 3 victims were not part of the data leak. Shit. Shit, indeed. That means the information about Besson, Bograin, and the Argentinian one. Goradasher. Yes, that's it, Goradasher. It all came from someone who had access to their criminal records. That help? You attempt to smile. Yes, that's better than nothing. A moment of silence. Helene takes a drag of her cigarette like there's no tomorrow. She paces a bit to warm herself up. You should come over sometime. What do you think? You grin. You and Helene used to sleep together, when things with her husband weren't so good. You dog! Okay. I do not condone that. But you are French, so... Way to play to the stereotype, y'all. Oh no. Shit. Fuck. How do we want to play this? Wait, doesn't he have a girl? He's got a girl. Bussett threatened him with telling her about his past. At least that's what it seemed like. I do not condone this kind of behavior. She turns her head away in a soft, graceful motion. Of course. I don't know why She looks deep into your eyes. You look down. Her hands are shaking. One last smile as she puts her cigarette out. Alcatran. Good night. You too. She reaches out to you affectionately, then stops. You decide to cross the street, to put some distance between you as quickly as possible. You get in the cab and run your hands together. Time to get back to your shift. You dog. Let's stop for gas. Our guy is the passenger who's entered your cab, slams the door and stares at you intently. Stare back. It's a showdown. The weapons, 2 pairs of eyes. The goal? You have no idea. Her gaze from the back seat seems to be boring holes into your head. Up front, you clutch the steering wheel, trying not to lose face. Continue staring at her. It's trench warfare. You on one side, stiff neck, red eyes, aching muscles, jittery from not having smoked for days. And her, tense, nervous, practically foaming at the mouth, obviously burning with pent-up rage. If I were to say to you, her voice slightly raspy with an oddly metallic sound, October 27th. That's the date, the night of the attack, the night you... Could this woman be the judge? 10:46 p.m. No, the attack took place later. Whew. Does that ring a bell? You nod your head. Yes, it does, miss. Don't you miss me? Not another word. She waggles an accusing finger at you. Last October 27th, you were in this very cab, driving a fare, and you committed a crime. That's right, sir, a crime. You keep talking, sis. Tell me what you think. I'd spent the whole day working like an idiot for that rotten newspaper. Do you have any idea what I do for a living? Town crier? She heaves a sigh. Very funny, absolutely hilarious. Her voice is increasingly aggressive. You can feel the anger bubbling inside her. I'm a sub-editor, Mr. Taxi driver. I correct mistakes that a bunch of moron journalists make. There isn't a single one, not one, who knows how to write a proper sentence. I've had it, really had it. And on the night of October 27th, you cut me off. Say nothing. I almost died that night. She grinds her teeth. You shudder. I crashed my car, my boyfriend's car, that is. The same guy who made yet another comment about women drivers. The neighbors called the police that night. I made such a scene to think the guy dares call himself a feminist. I mean, well, yeah, put him in his place. If he's gonna make jokes about that, come on. We're better than that. Come on, man. Come on. She pauses for dramatic effect as a disturbing smile spreads over her face. You can't hurt me, sis. Her voice is suddenly noticeably quieter, almost fragile. The next day, no more boyfriend. No more car. I messed up a job interview with a major news outlet. A paper where people know how to write, where they follow the basic rules of French grammar. Imagine for just a minute, I could have stopped correcting copy for a bunch of morons. I think I'm one of those morons, y'all, sorry. She takes a deep breath. But all because of you, because of your cab, everything changed the night of October 27th. A sad, faraway look comes over her. My life has never been the same since. Yes, sis, I feel you. But her voice is bursting with fury and hatred. Forced to go live with my mother while I went apartment hunting in this rotten city where tiny studios cost an arm and a leg. So I started looking for you. The back of your neck breaks into a sweat. You can feel cold, clammy droplets about to drip down your spine. I started asking around. I bribed one of your colleagues into giving me your number. God damn it. A drop of sweat starts sliding down your back. Then I found your address. Your first one, that is. You shiver as the drop reaches your boxers. That sweat didn't even get caught once by anything? Dadgum, that thing is determined. But that's your business. What matters is I did eventually give your other address, the real one. The droplet has reached your tailbone. You've started shaking. At first, I admit, I was planning on going to your place. She shrugs her shoulders. Her voice has softened a little. Just maybe to spit your face or something like that. And then I thought to myself, no, Ludivine. Maybe the guy deserves a chance. You never know. So you're going to apologize. Go on, give it your all. Take your time. Take a deep breath. She breathes in deeply, then exhales. Like that. We could tell her about the attack. But, like, what purpose would that serve? Would that just be a gotcha? Would that just be a woe is me, but like, woe is you, but woe is me times 2? I don't want to just throw her out. My non-confrontational ass. Because technically we did, and by we I mean our character did in fact kind of fuck up her life a little bit. Not nearly as fucked up as our life was in a separate event on that same day. I'll just apologize. I'm truly sorry. I don't remember what happened that evening. Put your life in danger. Sorry for everything that happened. Your car, your ex, your job. Sorry. No, you cannot say I'm sorry, even though it's not my fault. That's bitch shit right there. It's disgusting. Say nothing else. Shit. She heaves a sigh, dispelling her anger all at once. Was that the real you speaking? Her voice is slowed down. It was. A smile lights up her face. It was exactly what I needed to hear. I've been thinking about it for months, going over and over it every second of the accident. Telling myself it could have been different, less complicated. More, I mean, you know. Yes, I do. Good. Thanks. All her anger has evaporated. No more looks that could kill, simmering rage, or grinding teeth. My boyfriend was a jerk anyway. And then, this job, maybe it wasn't so great. She gives you a little smile. I tend to get worked up about things you'd noticed. And sometimes I take things a little too far. That too. In Paris, I guess we're quick to forget about being nice to each other, about being polite, and for a taxi driver, you're a real sweetheart. You didn't have to backhand compliment our guy. It's fine. She gives a short laugh. This is what I suggest. I'm gonna exit the cab. I'm gonna go for a little walk in the cold to get my mind off things. I have to learn to, her voice falters, manage my anger. It's eating me up. She shakes her head and then, without another look your way, goodbye. Door opens and closes. You're alone in the taxi, your head spinning slightly as if you'd had a drink. Just one, but something really strong. You briefly try to remember that night. Nothing. Nothing but a vague impression of something behind you. The killer silhouette, a fleeting presence. You shake your head. There's nothing more than before. If only you had turned around, everything would have been easier. If you'd seen the face of... All at once, you start the cab. We're all the way over here now. That's incredibly inconvenient. Moist critical? No, I'm kidding. Still early in the night, too. This is pretty good. We really do need gas, though. You pull over and stop at a gas station. Not a soul in sight. The fluorescent lights irritate your eyes, and the smell of peas wafting up from the space in between the pumps. It's self-service here. You pay directly at the pump. The mini-mart over there must sell newspapers. The person behind the counter must see and hear things. Might be worth asking a couple questions. You get out of your taxi and are stuck with the familiar feeling that you are the last person on Earth. Gas prices aren't good over there either. Great. You walk into the mini-mart. Behind the counter, a student doing his homework lazily raises his head. Yes. We could buy, like, what are these? Postcards and lottery tickets. Lottery tickets, probably. Newspaper. $4. €4? Alright, it's fine. Talk with the clerk. You examine the newspaper and magazine covers. The serial killer is on the front page of all of them. It's crazy, isn't it? You'd think they'd caught him by now. The clerk smiles. You recognize the twinkle in his eye. This guy has something to tell you. New clue. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. The guy behind the counter barely looks at you as you leave. Oh, but we had a moment, bro. Let's get out of here. Is that Zorro or Daredevil? This guy's closer. I need a man I can trust. Oh no. The man getting in your cab seems anxious. You've seen these types before. Late for a meeting, late to catch a plane, late getting home. He gives you an address in the 15th arrondissement. Arrondissement. You recognize him. A former deputy or senator or something like that. He looks at you nervously in the mirror. He's upset about something. Everything all right, sir? Yes, fine, thank you. His eyes are watering. He runs a hand across his damp forehead. He's sweating a great deal for a winter night. He clears his throat. Excuse me, I was wondering... Yes? Do people ever leave things in your taxi? All the time. All the time. That's good to know. He pauses and attempts to pull himself together. He looks cramped in his suit. And what do you do with the things people forget? Do you keep them? We take them back to the central office and wait for someone to claim them. Oh, shit. I mean, fine. Very good. How civil of you. Good job. He pauses again. Do you need anything? Well, yes. No, how shall I say? I need to lose something, if you get my drift. And I need to lose it in your taxi. Why? Sorry, I owe you an explanation. I just got out of a meeting. It was awful. Signed to himself, he adds. Awful. I've always been loyal to the party, you know. I've always followed orders, gotten the job done. My mother was a card-carrying member, my father an elected official, but I just can't do it anymore. I'm going to leave my briefcase here in the back seat. A moment goes by. He stares at you. You might say it was an oversight, you see? And then what happens? And then? Then someone will take care of the briefcase. When you drop the taxi off, bring the briefcase to the head office. Someone will come pick it up. He takes a deep breath. This country we live in, it's going to hell in a handbasket. Everyone running it is corrupt. They've sold out. They're thieves, all of them. He slowly leaves the briefcase beside him. We have lunch with lobbyists, dinner with bankers. We should burn everything, start over from scratch. Sometimes I dream we'd all get sick, be swept away by a political plague. A flu for suits. Maybe spread by a flea, you know, bubonic. He pauses, exhales, shakes. I can't bear to see them spend €600 on a meal when they just decided to close a hospital that suddenly becomes too costly to maintain. 6 months ago, we refused to vote for a law that would have prevented the building in Pantene from burning down. Do you remember? 6 months ago, we could have saved 75 people. He stumbles over the next words. The public housing minister, when we presented that bastard with the bill, he burst out laughing, as if the people living in those crumbling buildings were just peons. The passenger groans as if in pain and suddenly stops talking. What are you going to do now? I'm going to sleep. Then they'll send me to prison. Or worse, a far-off ward. Some overseas territory, Guinea or something like that. He struggles to swallow. That's what they do to traitors. After that, we'll see. Tomorrow's another day, if you know what I mean. Silence. Stop the car. Act as if everything is normal. You park along the sidewalk. You suddenly notice your client smells terrible. Sour, pungent BO, almost unbearable. He pays his fare and slips you an extra bill. Your compensation. He gets out and walks away quickly without turning back. You open the window to air out the cab. Whoa! Yeah, that guy's spending money like he does not expect to see tomorrow. I feel bad for that guy. We've got plenty of night to get through. And I want to check out this place since we're running out of days. We could also check the newspaper, although I don't know how much good stuff there is actually in the newspaper. You leave your taxi behind and walk towards the last victim's building. Charles Bougrain-Ferrer was killed in his parking garage. The large metal garage door is firmly closed. Wait for a car. On your left, there's a shady corner where you can discreetly keep an eye on the door without being seen. You grin and bear it. From time to time, you jump in place to warm yourself up. Your hiding place is probably the same one the killer used a few weeks ago. With each passing minute, you sense his presence until the garage door starts to shake. The metal slats start to rise. A car suddenly bursts out of the garage. You take the opportunity to slip inside. Your eyes take a few seconds to adjust to the darkness. You head down the ramp into the garage. There are about 30 spots, and almost all of them are full. The cars are very nice. Sedans, convertibles, a bright red sports car. You're in a wealthy neighborhood. According to the police report, Charles Bougrain-Ferrer was murdered right here in this empty parking spot. He used to be a notorious leader of the right-wing extremist party. When he was murdered at age 84, long after retiring from politics, it was a surprise for everyone. You light up the crime scene with a flashlight on your phone. There's still a brown stain on the wall in front of you. The message written in chalk has been washed off. A voice rings out in the garage. Hey, what are you doing? This is private property. You turn around and see a rather elderly man, probably the concierge. He shines his flashlight in your direction. Ah, shit, which one would help? I'm a fan of what? The serial killer? Don't tell the guy that. I'm a journalist. A journalist? Yes, I'm doing a story on the judge and his victims, including Mr. Bougrain-Ferrer. He hesitates. I'm sorry, but I'm not at liberty to tell you anything. I just need 2 minutes of your time. He nods nervously, or maybe in fright. You have trouble making out his face, but you can see his eyes bug out. Go! Get out of here before I call the cops! You walk back up the ramp towards the exit. The concierge opens the garage door. As you step outside, you hear the concierge say, If I see you lurking around again, I'm calling the cops! You make your way back to your cab. You glance at the building. The furious concierge is gone. You settle in behind the wheel, short of breath. Damn it, that didn't get us anything. Ugh. I can't try again? No. That's frustrating. Should I have said I'm a taxi driver? I don't know if it would have mattered. It's like he saw me and then panicked. At this time of night, you and a public maintenance truck are the only things moving on the road. You're blinded by its flashing orange light. Dadgum, you are going far. It's fine, it's for a paycheck. Your next passenger has been crying. She stares at the floor and gives you an address in the nearby suburbs. You've just started driving when you hear a telephone ring. The ringtone is familiar. Yes. There's a pause. Her tone is sharp and curt. Yes, I'm on my way home right now. She pauses, holds her breath. Yes. Another pause. She sounds annoyed. No, I took a taxi. On the other end, a voice gets louder. Who's paying? Well, I am. I don't want to take the bus home tonight. Come on, lay off. A new round of criticism begins. Look, can you just lay off? Yeah, we'll talk about when I get back. She holds the phone away from her ear, ready to hang up, and then pulls it back. Yes, I'm here. She finally glances at you. There's no need to scream. I can hear you. I told you we'll talk about it when I get home. We're about to enter a tunnel, miss. She smiles. No, that was the taxi driver saying we're going to be cut off. No, he seems normal. Mom, I said, she hangs up. Thank you. You hear a ring, same as before. The young woman hesitates, turns the phone over in her hand, and decides not to answer. Sorry. No problem. To be honest, I really didn't want to go home. My mother is waiting to have a long, very long discussion about my future, my career, all the sacrifices she's made for me. She's a cleaning woman in one of the fancy office buildings at La Défense? I don't know how they use the, it's not a tilde, but the accent over the E. Défense, and I failed my bar exam. So she thinks... She stops herself. She was going to make a joke, but something keeps her from doing so. Her smile vanishes. She thinks I'll end up as a cleaning woman at La Défense. Your passenger sighs. She thinks I dance too much. She thinks it's Lakme's fault. But mostly she thinks it's my fault. She heaves a huge sigh and stares at nothing outside. I studied. I worked hard, but I didn't pass. I just don't believe in all that anymore. Now be warned, what I'm about to say will sound cliche, but I wanted to be a dancer, not a lawyer. My mother doesn't understand. You must work to earn money in order to succeed. She takes a breath. Sorry, I didn't mean to unload on you. I must seem like a pretentious little princess. Not at all. Thanks. Thanks for lying. And she smiles. The address she gave you is not much farther. I mean, I know I owe my mother a lot. I have to stop being so self-centered, blah, 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 and I have to pass this fucking exam. She clicks her tongue as if to force herself to stop talking. Instead, she keeps going. Mind you, she came to my Lakme performance. She pauses, tries to find her words. She saw me dance, and when we left, it's kind of dumb, but she didn't say a single word. And I think I've never felt prouder. Her silence spoke 1,000 words. You pull up to her house. She takes her time getting out of the car. I don't know why I said all that, but it felt really good. Thank you. She disappears. Her tears have definitely vanished. Which means I've done my job. Plenty of time in the night. Let's keep clicking. Keep ticking. Going to Ternes. Patricia Hosien. A beautiful woman climbs into your cab. There's something sensual and comforting about her. Alright, our guy is a little horny. Bro. No, I just missed it, but don't worry, I'm taking a cab. Anyhow, I just wanted you to know. For a minute, you think she's talking to herself, but she leans over and whispers her address to you. I think you really enjoyed it today. As you start the cab, you notice a hands-free headset is practically hidden by the thick head of hair. I'll massage his feet tomorrow, and I'll let you do the rest. A small laugh escapes her. Or the other way around, sure. And, Cruz? It's normal to feel a little awkward at first, or uncomfortable. I mean, not knowing what to do, but you'll see. A couple more days and you'll get the hang of it. Anyhow, you should get to bed now. You need to keep up your strength. She stopped talking. Her phone call is over. She catches your eye in the rearview mirror and bursts out laughing. You look shocked. Not at all. Your passenger crosses her legs and gives you a playful pout. Tisk, tisk, I don't believe you. You're letting your imagination run wild. What exactly were you imagining? That I'm on my way home from a threesome or something? There's a mischievous gleam in her eye. Could be. She lowers her gaze and turns her head serious all of a sudden. But I'm not. The truth isn't that rosy. Actually, I was at my son's house. Say nothing. I've been taking care of him since his accident. I am a nurse. His accident? That's right. He was supposed to meet his father for a rugby match. He was in a hurry, He tried to pass a truck on the right as he was leaving the highway. The driver didn't see him. Her voice trails off. I don't know how he managed it, not to die on the spot. That's really tough. And all that just to see a rugby match. Her smile is playful and full of life. I mean, ever since he was little, I tried to get him interested in soccer, and see what happened. A smile of dry amusement flickers across your passenger's face. Anyway, he's been in a coma for weeks now. Grade 2, not a total vegetable. That's not okay to say. But she's old. But not all that hardy either. So I had them move him to his place. Cruz and I are taking care of him now. Cruz? His fiancée. A lovely girl. Your passenger puts her hand to her mouth to smother a giggle. Totally inhibited, but sweet. Very religious. She prays in Spanish at his bedside every night. They've been going out for 2 years now, and I still don't think they've... She blushes. Well, you know. A brief silence. You find yourself trying to think of something to say. How are you holding up? The passenger doesn't answer right away. You're afraid you've embarrassed her, but her face looks relaxed. I work in palliative care, you know. I spent the last 8 years of my life taking care of people who are going to die. The only question worth asking is how long before they die. It helps keep things in perspective. In my son's case, there's still hope. And at least I can help. I mean, I know how to do it anyhow. For one thing, there's day-to-day stuff. Nails, hair, beard. It all grows like crazy. There's a lot of maintenance, like a gardener. Same for the teeth. We have to brush them every now and then. Because believe me, if the town wakes up looking and smelling like a werewolf, we'll never hear the end of it. A smile escapes you. Your passenger stares in the rearview mirror and is clearly pleased. But the biggest risk is not being able to move. Our bodies are meant to move. I know it's hard to believe when our alarm clocks go off, but it's true. Our blood circulation stops working correctly, our skin gets cold, loses all its elasticity. So we have to massage them as often as we can. And then there are the bed sores. Do you know what bed sores are? No. It's what happens when your skin, when the weight of your body is too much for it. It splits open in two, like the Dead Sea, or the Red Sea, I should say. In the hospital, there are lots of patients who are still conscious and who have bed sores. Their bodies are racked with pain. It's like being skinned alive. The worst part is we have to change their bandages twice a day. Talk about brave. Working in a hospital is hard. The work, it's pretty depressing. But at the town's case, it's different. I don't have a choice. It has to be done. And actually, I'm happy. We can't talk to each other anymore. He doesn't even react when I touch him. So taking care of him is just my way of showing him I love him. That's a good thing, isn't it? Yes, it is. Pretty odd, huh? And that's how it goes. Your passenger shudders briefly. Okay, Patricia, enough of that depressing stuff. Let me tell you something funny. Earlier tonight, when Cruz and I were washing to town, not exactly a pleasure cruise. My son is well over 6 feet tall and cruises across between a matchstick and a Q-tip. So I was managing as best as I could, rolling him onto one side and then the other. She was trying to help, though the truth is, it's pretty hard for her to take. I mean, it's all new to her. It can't be that much fun. She was muttering religious mumbo-jumbo to herself in Spanish, Dios mío, and whatnot. And just as I was rolling to town back, onto his back, guess what? He got an enormous erection. I mean, you gotta laugh. That's funny. For once you start to laugh, your passenger joins in. Jump scared by penis. The two of you enjoy a good long laugh. After a while, your passenger manages to catch her breath. A big ol' hard-on. How did Cruz react? First, she turned bright red, and then she pulled the sheet over him as fast as she could. Your passenger makes a short pause to emphasize what's coming. But it looked even worse. Like Casper the Ghost. Peals of warm laughter fill the air. For a moment, you are happy, as if a weight had been lifted. You pull up to the address she had given you. You stop the cab, and she hands you the fare. Thanks for the conversation. The ride went by really fast. She reaches for the door, then stops. You can sense she's really on edge. It's good to be able to talk. It's pretty unusual in Paris to meet someone so warm. Good night. A slight nod, like a promise. You too. Good luck tonight. She shuts the door carefully, then walks away. Your eye follows her as she climbs to the steps at the door of her building. A moment later, she's gone. As you start the cab, you catch the sight of something on the back seat, a Kleenex. You wriggle around to pick it up. Read it? It's got something on it? You unfold the handkerchief. You see the word Patricia and a phone number written inside. You look up at the building and smile. You notice a newspaper in the back seat. I already had one, that's fine. Could come in handy. You turn the key in the ignition and ride away. We got her number? Fellas, all you gotta be is good at listening and funny. That's the secret, y'all. Again, I thought our main character was in a relationship. Or I'm mistaken. Oh, you know we gotta escort Zorro over here. You recall that Balzac was born on this street, or was it Zola, or maybe Victor Hugo? Xavier Tersev. I need to get out of here. You pull up. I got an achievement. Do etoiles. Discover 10% of the Passadex. Yay! You pull up next to the sidewalk, a few meters from an abandoned warehouse. Imagine that. All that talking, we've only met 10% of the people we can meet. I love this game. No sign of your passenger. You wait a minute, staring at the meter. You really don't feel like wasting your time on people. You hear a window break on the second floor of the warehouse. A body falls heavily to the sidewalk. You lay your hand on the door handle when a man, dressed entirely in black, jumps out the window and lands on the body. He stands up and takes a few steps over to your cab. Are you the cab I ordered? You nod your head very, very slowly. Super. I'm the one you're waiting for. Be right there. He turns around, places his fingers on the neck of the inanimate body, takes his pulse. He comes back over, opens the door, and jumps into the back seat. You can start driving. Noelle, please. You follow orders without a second thought. In back, your passenger smells like sweat and gunpowder. He's been running. Been in a fight, maybe. Probably. His muscles bulge in rhythm with his heart, which is racing. Good evening. Pretty good, yeah? He smiles, or tries to. You can see the blood on his otherwise impeccably white teeth. I screwed up a little, but all in all, it was a good evening. You? Not so sure anymore. Okay, alright, come on. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. You're on to me and you know it. I'm the masked Joker. Silence. You squint to get a closer look at your passenger. The masked Joker, the hero that makes Parisian nights more peaceful, no? You slowly shake your head. Nope, doesn't ring a bell. I'm all over Twitter, so probably on the radio and in the newspapers I think. The masked Joker. Yes, the masked Joker. I think it sounds good. You bite the inside of your cheek. See, I wanted something that wasn't too... He searches for the right word, beats around the bush, and eventually comes out with... Problematic? I did a lot of brainstorming and came up with the masked Joker. I haven't gotten great feedback, but it's hard these days to find a name everyone likes. You have to make sacrifices if you want your core business to succeed. That's what they tell us at school anyway. At school? Yes, and E&K. He freezes. Shit, I almost gave you the name of my business school. What an idiot. Can you imagine if Bruce Wayne went around telling everyone he was Bruce Wayne? Bruce Wayne? No, Batman. If Batman went around telling everyone he was Bruce Wayne. I'm gonna go mixed up. He touches the sides for a while as if looking for a wound. You're getting close to your destination. I think I'm hurt. You learn from your mistakes. He starts laughing, then stops, doubled over in pain. Okay, I think I broke something. I'm sure of it. Oh, fuck, that hurts. We're going to the hospital. No, I'm fine. I shouldn't have jumped out of the window like that. No, you shouldn't have. You could have just walked down the stairs. But you were already coming down the street, and I didn't want to make you wait. God damn it. Millennial superhero. I love him. You smile. Pull over. Right there in front of the driveway. You obey. Don't worry, it's just a flesh wound. I'll be home in 2 minutes and have everything I need to take care of myself. He pays and struggles to get out of the cab. One last thing. Please don't say anything about kid. I'm trying to lead a double life and it's not super easy. Nod your head mysteriously. Perfect. I hope to... He doubles over in a coughing spell. See you again sometime. Take good care of yourself. I'll be much better soon. No worries. He looks at you for a minute. You're a really classy guy. He walks away, limping. You watch him as he tries several times to enter his building code before heading inside, finally. As you go to start the engine, you notice a few drops of blood on your fingers from the bills your passenger handed you. Not the blood money. Literal blood money. It's too late to do much else. Let's read the paper. You pull the newspaper out of your glove compartment and start leafing through it. Eventually something grabs your eye. It's a photo of an important French athlete, a well-known tennis player. Wait, no, we know this. We've seen this. A third of the paper. Is there nothing good in here? A photo exhibit about Parisian taxi drivers will soon open. You wonder if any actual taxi drivers will go to see it. You only have a third left to read. Read the whole thing. A tiny article in the corner of one page. Ongoing protests in the small South American country of French Guinea have been paralyzing the territory for 2 months. You raise your head. Until now, you'd heard nothing about these protests. You shut the paper. It'll end up in the trash tonight. If you remember it's there. Otherwise, it'll spend the rest of its days in your glove compartment. All these characters popping up doesn't matter because it's nighttime. Ludivine Gungier. We made money. Company cut. That's why we lost. Rent is $100? Gee whiz. They really want you on that grind. You take a few minutes to update your board with new clues. Your neighbor flushes the toilet. Out of the corner of your eye, you can see the pipe shake. You crack your knuckles and get to work. Okay, now we can finally... Where's our little dot here? Not important. Finally read the report on the third victim. Oh, we've got so much. The victims are usually wealthy. Okay. Put that in like our little corner section here of stuff about the victims that apply to all of them. Okay. Or at least haven't been sorted. Killer fought with victim 3. Okay. I said there was no sign of violence on victim 3, but also the killer fought with victim 3? Interesting that that's not connected. First 3 victim files, not part of the police league, which means they had to have had access to the police files, which means maybe you? No, he wouldn't have access, not without actually like getting it. No, he'd have to tell someone. Which means at the end of the day, oops. I think we really only have 2 suspects. But it's late. It's time to go to bed. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You lie down on the open sofa bed. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed, your body aches, and you are in pain. You can tell you need to get more sleep. You glance at your investigation board. You don't quite know where you are anymore. To be honest, you were completely lost. You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. Your eyes close. Right when you're about to fall asleep, you notice a taste on your tongue. It's very salty, like soy sauce, and a tad bitter, very strong. It disappears as quickly as it came. You fall asleep. Thank you for listening to another episode of Night Call. We'll be back next time to see just where this fascinating story leads us. Like, comment if you feel like it, if you want to say something. Subscribe if you feel like it. Ain't no one gonna tell you what to do, alright? Have a good one.